This week in comedy news. Well, is it comedy news? I guess it's not comedy news for the people who are involved, but for everyone else. Anyway, this week in the news, Professor Greg Patton from the Marshall School of Business was removed from his class for explaining a common Chinese word. It's actually the most common Chinese word. I'll let the professor explain.
If you have a lot of or ers, and this is culturally specific, so based on your native language, like in China, the common word is that. So in China, it might be nega. So there's different words that you'll hear in different countries, but they're vocal disfluencies. It's saying that,
Like I say like all the time, it's just a placeholder word when I'm looking for a word to use. Basically, the like, the huh. I thought that was really funny, actually. Apparently, who did not find this funny were some of Professor Patton's students, and he was removed from the class. Now, this is a shame. Well, first off, there's no R in the Chinese version of the word. If anything, it's a very casual use of the word. I find this funny in particular because I was wondering about this very same thing just a few weeks ago. I was dancing along to my K-pop, as you know I like to do, and I heard the word. Of course I kept dancing. I've been dancing to hip-hop my whole life. It's never stopped me at the club before, so why should it stop me now? However, I had to think, well, why are they using the word? This is English? I don't know. Maybe they're trying to relate to the urban American youth. This is really an interesting way to go about it. But then I figured, no, there must be an explanation for this. Jess would never do that to me. Jess doesn't know me personally, but I've danced with her for many months now. I feel we're on a level that maybe I'm like an extra in her dream. She's certainly an extra in my dream, and I know she would never offend me in that way. Jess, my fave. It's funny because sometimes I'll listen to K-pop and they'll say American words, and I think, hey man, they're trying to relate to me. That's really cool. But they just use a lot of words from a lot of different languages. Do you ever think that Chinese people listen to American hip-hop and think, yeah, they get me, we use the same words? Because we use the N-word as a filler word too. I know some people who use the N-word as their only noun. And then after this controversy happened, they thought, no, they can't relate to me at all. They're mean. Well, we're not mean. I'm actually pretty grateful that Professor Patton said something because I just go on wondering forever and ever. Well, the Chinese Black Caucus, of course, defended Professor Patton and said that Americans are far too sensitive. I don't know if there's a major uproar from Americans about Professor Patton explaining this word. Maybe there was one or two people in his class that were offended, and that's certainly a problem for him. But I just don't see a larger uproar about this particular issue. I don't see people marching in the streets to cancel Professor Patton. In fact, anyone who I've told this to thinks this story is hilarious, and I'll tell you why. This is something I have believed for a long time, that our Lord, the creator of this universe, whether that be Brahma or Jehovah, Quetzalcoatl, whoever you believe the creator of this universe to be, whoever created all of the nations and all of the people. Well, he gave one of those people the N-word to use as their most common word. And he did this way back in the first act, many thousands of years ago. Cut forward a few acts. We are in the third act, maybe the end of the third act, we don't know. And guess what comes up? That the N-word is the most offensive word in the English language. English being the most spoken language in the world. Even Chinese people speak English. You may notice that wherever you go in the world, a lot of people speak English. It's sort of the standard language of business. But the most spoken language at home is Mandarin. So that's the joke. That's the joke, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. Whoever wrote that joke is an absolute genius. They should be working for Arrested Development instead of creating universes and such. That's called a callback. We in the third act call back to something from the first act. Anyone who doesn't find that one funny just isn't giving the creator the cred that he deserves, because they are the original comedian. The GOAT. Before Carlin, there was the creator of the universe. You'll see little jokes woven like this throughout history. They're kind of funny, but they also sometimes lead to genocide, so not always so funny. Isn't anything funny if you're dead inside? Anyway, now that Professor Patton has explained what that word means, I don't have to wonder anymore. I will continue to dance to songs with that word in it. Not just because I don't have an option, but because now I know what it means. Sorry, Professor Patton, that you lost your course. Somebody else is teaching it. I'm glad you didn't lose your job. And thank you for letting me know what that word means so I don't have to wonder anymore. Subscribe!